You feel fine about money until you realize you're not actually building any. The paycheck comes in, it goes out, and somehow you're in your mid-30s without a safety net. This isn't because you're bad with money. This isn't because you lack discipline. It's because the system itself is designed to prevent accumulation, and almost nobody teaches you how to actually fight back against it. There's a hidden mechanism that separates people who build wealth from people who stay stuck, and it has nothing to do with income. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how that mechanism works, and why small people with ordinary paychecks build more net worth than high earners who feel perpetually broke. If you recognize yourself in that second group, pay attention to the part where it gets real. Most people miss this entirely. Let's start with a painful truth that almost nobody wants to hear. Renters and homeowners are playing a completely different financial game. Homeowners in America build roughly 40 times more wealth than renters over the same period. 40 times, not 2 times, not 5 times. 40. This isn't because homeowners are smarter or more disciplined. It's because of a single mechanism called leverage. When you buy a house, you're not putting down the full purchase price. You put down 20% and borrow the other 80%. That borrowed money is the lever. If your house appreciates 5%, your down payment didn't appreciate 5%. Your actual return on your down payment is closer to 25% because you only put in 1/5 of the money. That's forced savings plus leverage combined. Renters get neither. They pay rent, and 12 months later they own nothing. Here's the part that changes everything about how you think about renting a rental payment, is emotionally invisible spending. It hurts the same way your mortgage hurts, but it produces nothing on the other side. Your brain doesn't track it as a loss because the landlord handles everything. Maintenance call at midnight. No tax bill in April. No property tax surprise. But that invisibility is the trap. You're spending 30 to 40% of your income and building zero equity, 30 years of rent payments, and your net worth is exactly where it started. A mortgage is painful in exactly the same way, except it builds net worth every single month. Now, here's the mechanism that separates the wealthy from the perpetually stressed. Wealthy people have a system that moves money automatically the moment it enters their account. Most people have the opposite. Money comes in, and they spend whatever's left over after expenses. The direction of flow is different. One system builds wealth, the other guarantees it never happens. The reason automation works is neurological. You can be tempted to spend money you never see. More importantly, you can feel deprived of something you forgot you had. If you set up automated transfers into savings and retirement accounts before you see the money, your brain never registers it as part of your available income. You adjust your expenses downward naturally. You don't notice the $500 that vanished into a 401k because it was never in your checking account to begin with. Let me show you the exact math on this. If you invest just $27.40 per day for 40 years at a conservative 10% annual return, you end up with over $4,400,000. 2740 times 365 days times 40 years at 10% annual return equals $4,424,000. The $20,000, that's not exceptional income. That's not inheritance. That's not a lucky stock pick. That's the compounding effect of small, consistent deposits over decades. Most people never see this because they're focused on the daily expense of $27. They think, I can afford to save that much. But if someone asked you to give up an expensive coffee, a couple of lunch subscriptions, and one streaming service, you'd find exactly that amount by next week. Results vary, but this is the core math everyone misses. The second loop is coming soon. So stay with me. Most people feel broke because they're not tracking money leaks. A subscription you forgot about. A gym membership you stopped using. A software trial that turned into a monthly charge. A delivery fee that's now automatic. These aren't individual budget items. They're psychological landmines. Each one feels small. $7 a month, $12 a month, so your brain waves them through. But stacked together, they often add up to $200 to $400 monthly. That's between $2,400 and $4,800 per year, sitting in small leaks, for someone trying to find that daily $2,740. This is where it lives. You don't need to make more money. You need to stop the leakage. The psychological relief of finding that money by cutting waste is enormous, because now you know you're not broken. The money was always there. It was just flowing out the wrong direction. Here's where it shifts. Couples financial planning is where most people discover they actually in crisis without realizing it. If your partner died today, could you name every financial account, every subscription, every recurring payment? Most people can. They can name the passwords, they can find the statements. They panic during the conversation because they realize one person holds all the financial knowledge in the relationship. That imbalance is a hidden catastrophe. It's not just about death, It's about divorce, illness, disability or extended hospitalization. One person gets incapacitated, and suddenly the other person is scrambling in the dark. Couples who build wealth together have one clear rule. Both people know exactly where every dollar is, what every account does, and what the plan is if one of them can't manage finances. This doesn't require constant discussion. It requires one serious conversation and quarterly check-ins. Nothing feels stable until that conversation happens, and almost nobody prioritizes it. The debt elimination strategy separates people who escape debt from people who stay trapped. Most financial advice tells you to pay off the highest interest rate debt first. That's mathematically correct, but it fails behaviorally. Here's why paying off the highest interest rate credit card takes months or years, and you see no progress. Your motivation collapses. You feel helpless. The smallest debt, maybe $800, can be gone in weeks. That psychological win is massive. When you pay off that smallest debt, something shifts in your brain. You believe the system works. You feel momentum. You immediately throw that payment into the next smallest debt. Now you're stacking wins. This is called the snowball method, and it works not because of math, but because of human psychology. The speed of visible progress matters more than theoretical efficiency. You feel control returning. Results vary by discipline, but this is where people actually escape debt. Most people miss this part. The investment allocation that actually works is almost boring in its simplicity. You need 3 buckets. The first bucket is retirement. 12.5% of your gross income flows automatically into a 401k or IRA. That's pre-tax money, so your take-home doesn't drop by the full amount. Most employers also match a percentage, which means free money instantly. The second bucket is emergency reserves. 5% of your income into a high-yield savings account until you hit $5,000 to $10,000. That's your break glass fund for car repairs, medical emergencies, and unexpected layoffs. The third bucket is your dream account. 5% of your income into whatever you want, guilt-free. A vacation, a hobby, a future home, down payment. The remaining 77.5% covers rent, food, transportation, and everything else. The magic isn't in the percentages. The magic is that money is allocated with intention before you see it. You're not deciding every paycheck where it goes. You're deciding once, then automation handles it forever. Your money and investments should be boring. Your life should be interesting. And this is where index funds come in. Active trading is a slot machine disguised as a career. The average person who tries to pick individual stocks loses money consistently. The percentage of people who beat the market over 20 years is statistically smaller than random chance. Meanwhile, a boring index fund, total market index, dividend index, balanced index, just quietly compounds. It's not exciting. There's no story to tell. You can brag at dinner, but over 30 years, boring outperforms exciting by such a massive margin that it's almost embarrassing. The psychological friction is the only real barrier. People feel like they should be doing something complex to justify earning money. Simplicity feels like laziness. It's not. It's actually the highest form of discipline. Here's the twist. Nobody expects. Wealth building is almost always not about earning more. It's about stopping the leak and then letting time work. Someone making $50,000 a year who plugs the leak and saves $10,000 annually will have over $1.2 million in 30 years at a conservative return. Someone making $150,000 a year who spends $140,000 annually and saves nothing will have zero income as a multiplier on top of the foundation. The foundation is the leak plug. Most financial advice starts at the wrong place. It talks about income growth, side hustles, and career advancement. Those matter eventually. But first, you have to make sure you're not hemorrhaging money on things you don't even track. That's the foundation. Everything else builds on top of it. The couples planning piece is where it becomes real because it forces alignment on values. Couples often have different money narratives. One person grew up with scarcity mindset and wants to save everything. The other grew up with abundance mindset and wants to enjoy life now. These aren't individual flaws. They're different operating systems. The conversation isn't about who's right. It's about creating a third system that both people can live inside. Maybe that means 50% to retirement, 30% to living now, and 20% to future big dreams. Maybe it's different. The math doesn't matter as much as the agreement. When both people have a voice in the system, they stop fighting about money. They stop feeling resentful. They're working toward the same destination. Most couples never have this conversation. They argue about money constantly, while using completely different mental models of what money is for. The moment you align on that, the financial mechanics become easy. You're not fighting the person next to you and the system at the same time. You're fighting just the system, and that's a winnable fight. Pay attention to this part because it reveals the entire hidden structure. The reason automatic systems work is that they overcome one specific human limitation: we are terrible at delayed gratification. We evolved in an environment where resources were scarce and uncertain. Eating now was safer than saving for later. That instinct protected us for thousands of years. Now it disrupts us in weeks. Credit cards turn scarcity into artificial abundance. You feel rich because you can spend money you don't have. But the bill arrives, and suddenly you're trapped. Automation works because it forces the future version of you to make decisions for the present version of you. Your 45-year-old self already decided that your 35-year-old self would save $10,000 per year. By the time the money reaches your checking account, the decision is locked in. Your impulsive brain can't override it. This is why discipline is overrated. You don't need more willpower. You need a system that removes the need for willpower entirely. A service business owner making $70,000 annually can apply this exactly. Put aside $8,000 per year for taxes, allocate 12.5% to retirement, move 5% to emergency savings, and suddenly they're building wealth on the remaining income. Results vary based on business stability, but the framework works. A product business owner can implement the same structure. Product revenue is unpredictable, so they set a baseline monthly draw and let profits move to investment buckets automatically. The business becomes a wealth-building machine rather than a spending accelerator. A real estate investor starting with a single rental property needs the exact same discipline. Mortgage payment, property tax, insurance, and maintenance reserves are locked in. Everything above that goes to the next property down payment. The leverage multiplies after 5 properties. They have forced savings on 5 mortgages simultaneously while collecting rent. Results vary by market conditions and leverage ratios, but leverage is what separates wealth builders from income earners. A software engineer at a tech company with stock options can layer the index fund approach, invest the boring index funds aggressively in tax-advantaged accounts, then treat stock options as a bonus layer on top. Don't gamble with the core foundation. Let stock options be the excitement. Results vary based on company performance, but the separation of boring plus boring equals stable, exciting plus exciting equals risk. A small manufacturer with fluctuating income needs quarterly reviews instead of monthly. Look at last quarter's profit, allocate the same percentages, and invest what's left. Automation works differently for variable income, but the principle stays identical. Here's the second open loop closing. The system doesn't require you to make 6 figures. It doesn't require you to be exceptional. The bottom 40% of households in the US have such tight cash flow that they can't save $27 daily. That's a real constraint, not a motivation problem. But the next 30 to 35% of households, roughly 40 to 50 million families, can actually do this. They can find that daily $27.40 by cutting 1 subscription, 1 expensive coffee, 1 convenience expense. For them, this isn't aspirational. This is actually achievable. The math is real. The system works. The only variable is whether they implement it or keep talking about starting next month. Most people wait for perfect conditions to begin. They wait until the bonus hits. They wait until the debt is gone. They wait until they feel mentally ready. That waiting is the trap. The time cost of waiting is enormous. Every year you delay is a year that compound interest isn't working for you. If you start at age 25 instead of age 35, the difference in final wealth is roughly 2.5 times larger. Not 2.5%, 2.5 times. Time is the only non-renewable resource. You can buy it back. The sooner you start, even if the amounts are small, the more the system works for you. Someone who starts at 25 with $500 per month will have more at retirement than someone who starts at 35 with $1,000 per month. Same income, delayed start, dramatically worse outcome. The conversation about taxes matters more than people realize. Money inside a 401k or traditional IRA grows tax-free until withdrawal. Money inside a Roth IRA grows tax-free forever. Regular brokerage accounts get taxed annually. That tax drag is small each year, maybe 1 to 2%. But over decades it compounds backward. You're leaking returns to the government. The system that separates wealthy people from ordinary people isn't about knowing secret investment strategies. It's about using the tax structure that already exists. Most people leave hundreds of thousands of dollars on the table by not using retirement accounts. It's not complicated, just invisible if nobody explains it. A qualified tax professional can confirm the specific structure for your situation, but the principle is universal. Here's the section that reveals what most people actually get wrong about relationships and money. Partners often lie about money without realizing it, not intentionally lying, just omitting. One person has debt the other person doesn't know about. One person has a secret savings account. One person is regularly spending on something the other person would object to. These aren't massive betrayals, but they're cracks. When the financial crisis hits, job loss, medical emergency, major expense, suddenly those cracks become earthquakes. The partner who thought they had 10,000 in savings discovers there's actually 4,000 because of hidden spending. Trust collapses. The conversation about money before the crisis hits prevents this. It's not about control. It's about honest alignment. Partners who build wealth together know exactly what the other person spends on, where the money comes from, and what the plan is. If one person can't earn anymore, that conversation is uncomfortable for maybe 1 hour. Avoiding it creates years of financial stress and relationship friction. The payoff is where this all clicks. Home ownership creates wealth because it forces you to pay for something whether you like it or not. The mortgage payment doesn't care about your feelings. You pay it every month or you lose the house. That forced payment creates forced savings. Meanwhile, the property appreciates. Meanwhile, you build equity. Meanwhile, inflation actually works in your favor because you're paying back a fixed-rate loan with future dollars that are worth less. Rent never builds equity. Rent increases with inflation. Your rent payment doesn't protect you from inflation. It exposes you to it. After 30 years, a homeowner and a renter with the same starting income are in completely different financial positions. The homeowner has a paid-off asset. The renter has a history of rent payments and zero equity. This is why home ownership is the single most reliable wealth-building mechanism for ordinary people. Not magic. It's not luck. It's just physics applied to finance. The system works because it removes decision-making from the equation. Every morning you wake up and could make a different choice. Save more, spend less, change your investment, pull money out early. Every decision is a chance to fail. Systems remove that. You set it once, then automation takes over. You never have to decide again. That's why wealthy people are often unremarkable. They're not exceptional decision makers. They just made one good decision years ago and stopped making decisions. They set it on autopilot. Ordinary people are making decisions constantly, trying different budgets, trying different savings rates, trying different investments. The constant decision-making creates constant failure. The system creates constant success because success isn't dependent on willpower. It's dependent on structure. 3 things to remember as you start implementing that. First, small daily savings compound to staggering amounts over time. So begin today regardless of the size. Second, automate every financial decision, or you'll revert to spending patterns by default. Third, couples who align on financial values reduce money stress and accelerate wealth building together. If you want to go deeper on any of these concepts, the patterns are everywhere once you start looking. Watch what wealthy people actually do, and you'll notice they're boring with money and interesting everywhere else. Exactly opposite to how most people operate.